Um, I don't mind twist endings. I actually like twist endings. I'm not that bothered if you introduce a new character during the last 10 minutes of a game, as long as it's done decently well. And a lot of people I know didn't think it was done well at all. I thought it was okay. I mean, when I was watching it, I didn't have a problem, because I was actually very sympathetic to the kid. I think most people, I know I'm in the minority, because it seems like most everyone hated the kid, couldn't stand the kid, and just wanted to tell him off, flick him off, shoot him in the head. They just couldn't stand the kid. I actually felt a little remorse for him, because I cannot, while talking to him, indoctrination theories aside, I'm gonna deal with indoctrination theory later. But, you know, while talking to him, assuming that the indoctrination theory is, you know, didn't apply, and I know everyone is saying lies, lies. I'll get to it. I'll get to the indoctrination theory. Just bear with me. I honestly believe that the Catalyst genuinely thought that he was doing this for the good of the galaxy. If you remember, I don't remember which episode, but I made a prediction in one of my episodes in Mass Effect 3 near the end, where I was trying to figure out why the Reapers were doing this, what their purpose was, why the heck they were killing off civilizations every 50,000 years. I mean, they keep claiming that it was for our salvation, so I was curious as to what that was, and they kept saying it's something that humans, or organics rather, that organics could not understand. They could not comprehend. And I think I was fairly close. The Catalyst's reasoning was every 50,000 years they needed to harvest the advanced life so that they didn't create synthetics to destroy them, to kill them, and destroy the galaxy. Whether or not that belief is true or is valid is of course up for debate. Now, I personally believe that it's not true, because I think that based on Edie, and based on the fact that we were able to find peace within the Quarians and the Geth, that we kind of proved that the synthetics and the organics can coexist. I am a little annoyed. Actually, sure, I'll say it. I'm a lot annoyed. I'm very annoyed that you weren't able to bring this up to the Catalyst when he was saying that. It would have been great if there was like an interrupt of some sort, or if there was a way to argue with the Catalyst. No, wait a minute, I kind of proved you wrong. That's not the case. Organics and synthetics can coexist. But they didn't. So, I don't know. BioWare probably can't do anything about it right now, but it's just one of those things. But regardless, as much as we all really want to paint the Catalyst as a bad guy, or even the Reapers as a bad guy, yes, they did horrible things. I'm not condoning what they're doing. I'm not condoning their methods. I mean, like throwing creatures into a giant blender and sucking their genetic material up tubes into, you know, another machine is horrible stuff. I'm not saying that it's not horrible stuff. But I'm trying to see where the Reapers stand, where the Catalyst stand, what's going through their Catalyst's mind. Trying to understand. I feel like you have to understand your enemy if you're gonna win a war. You can't just. It's just one of those things that helps a lot. Is putting yourself in your enemy's shoes, trying to figure out their motivations, because that's ultimately, I think, the best way to stop your enemy is by understanding them. And I think it's true that organics are not meant to understand this process of destroying for the sake of the galaxy, because as I said in my prediction, organics by nature, their most primal priority is to stay alive. You know, organic life by nature will do everything in its power to keep going. And so telling organics they have to die for the good of the galaxy, they don't want to hear that. Organics don't want to hear that. In a sense, organics in that way are to put it bluntly, selfish. They would rather live. They would prefer to live versus, you know, doing what is right for the galaxy. And I'm not saying that killing off organics every 50,000 years is right for the galaxy. I'm not saying that. But, again, I think that's what the Catalyst believes. It's sort of like, you know, when you have an overpopulation. If you have, like, an overpopulation of locusts, they end up destroying the environment. Is that, yeah, the locust wants to live, to continue to live, but is that what's best for the environment? You know, I don't think so. And so what do? We try to control the locusts. We try to kill some of them off, stop them from giving birth. It's like the genophage. You know, the Solarians did what they did in order to do what was best for the galaxy, and they were branded, especially by the Krogans, as being horrible, horrible people, a horrible race. The Quarians, I'm sorry, the Solarians and the Turians, for introducing the genophage. How dare they control them? You know, if you really want to look into it, the Solarians and the Turians may be not that much different from the Reapers, if you really thought about it. So that's all I'm saying. I mean, that's really the point that I'm trying to make. So I think I talked about the Catalyst, and here's my thoughts about the Catalyst. We as players, I think, have a tendency to put it bluntly, we kind of can get a little bit arrogant sometimes, because just because we are the player, just because we are the main character, we are automatically right. We are automatically, what we believe is right. It's our way or the highway, and anyone who opposes us, anyone who disagrees with us, is automatically the villain, is automatically the bad guy, the evil one that needs to be taken down, because how dare they, you know, believe the opposite of what we believe. And so, going back again to the Catalyst, I honestly think that the Catalyst genuinely believes that it's doing what is best for the galaxy. Whether or not it actually in reality is best for the galaxy is up for debate. But I cannot, as a player, look at the Catalyst and think villain, because, you know, I generally think that its intentions were what was best for the galaxy. It may not be what is best for the individual civilizations, but it believes that was best for the galaxy. I'm going to talk more about this later when we get to my final decision for which color I picked. Number 9, Shepard's acceptance of the Godchild. I already touched this. I already talked about how it would have been great if Shepard was able to tell the Catalyst, hey, look, we proved that organics and synthetics can work together. So I already touched on that. And then next, the player choice, and the identical endings. I kind of, again, already touched on that, with how the endings were not really that similar. The cutscenes were, but the outcome of the endings were not, even though, you know, you didn't necessarily see it in a cutscene. Maybe in the DLC we will, and if that's the case, I will be very, very happy, very, very satisfied. With the I wanted to now talk about my actual choice at the very end, with that the Catalyst gave me. The choices of destroying the Reapers, the choice of controlling the Reapers, or the choice of synthesis. Right now, I've seen all three of the endings, and right now, I still like the synthesis ending the best. I mean, maybe I'm partial because it was the one that I chose first with my first playthrough, but I like the synthesis ending the best. And I know again that I'm in the minority. I think there was a survey that was taken, and I think synthesis was far, I believe at the time was far the least popular choice, and majority of the people chose the red choice, destroying the Reapers. It totally outnumbered the red totally outnumbered blue and green by far. And for me, the red really was the least appealing for me. And this is why because I had proven that it was possible for organics and synthetics to live on and coexist. Not only coexist, but help each other. The synthetics, the Geth were helping the Quarians, for goodness sake, rebuild, and they were essentially helping them create vaccination, almost like a vaccination for them to be able to live without their suits. I mean, that was living proof, a living contradiction to what the Catalyst was saying. And because it was a living contradiction to what the Catalyst was saying, I could not destroy the Geth. I could not destroy all synthetics, because that just would go completely against what Shepard was trying to do, was trying to prove. I couldn't do that. And not only the Geth, but Edie as well. I was thinking about Joker as well, and Edie is a good thing. I think Edie herself shows that somehow, I can't explain how, but somehow a machine has some form of affection, emotion, dare I say love, towards an organic. And not just Joker, I think everyone in this crew, Edie got very attached to. So I could not, in my conscience, choose the red choice as long as better alternatives existed. And I believe there were better alternatives. So, again, even though red was the most popular choice, I was not about to destroy the Reapers if it meant that I also had to take down the Geth and Edie as well, because I felt there were better options. So that is why I disagree wholeheartedly with the majority of the players, and I am proud that I disagree. And I think it's interesting for once I think it's interesting for once to hear someone who actually has an opinion that goes against the grain a little, that is in the minority. The Control seemed like an interesting choice, but the biggest problem I had with Control is, even though it did allow Edie to survive, it did allow the Geth to survive, Shepard was still going to kind of die, kind of, sorta, and I didn't want Shepard to... I wanted Shepard to rest eventually. I felt like Shepard's consciousness would continue on for who knows how long, and I didn't want my Shepard to just go on forever. I think Shepard deserves to rest at some point, and that's why I couldn't put Shepard through controlling the Reapers. On top of my worry that all of that power would breed some sort of corruption within Shepard at some point. Like, that would be just awful. So, again, that's why I dismissed the Control. And then finally we get to Synthesis. Even though Synthesis was the least favorite for many players based on the survey that I saw, I thought it was the best win-win situation. Because it allowed the Geth to survive, it allowed Edie to survive, and it just seemed like it was the happiest of endings. And many people didn't like this ending because they thought it was hokey. Sure, it was hokey, but that didn't bother me very much. I think what bothers most people is that they felt that this synthesis is what Saren wanted. This synthesis, you know, Saren was trying to find some, wanted to try to get humans to submit to the Reapers in order to allow them to coexist. And I think it's totally different from what Saren wanted, because I think Saren only intended us, like I said, to submit to the Reapers, not be bonded or synthesized with the Reapers. Maybe, I mean, in his mind, I'm sure he thought, well, it'll be kind of us submitting like as slaves to the Reapers, but he felt, you know, submission was better than extinction. But I don't think that that's synthesis. Even if it was synthesis, again, it goes back to the arrogance that we get as a player, in that just because we are the main character, what we believe is right, and if anyone disagrees with us, like Saren, for example, is automatically wrong and is the villain. Weighing all of the choices that we had, you know, and trying to pick out what was the worst, the least of the three evils, I thought that synthesis was the least of the three evils for me, and if it happened to coincide remotely with what Saren wanted, so be it. It's the least of the three evils. Controlling the Reapers is what the elusive man wanted. And if for you, choosing that was the least of the three evils, so what if it happens to be what the elusive man wanted? Oh well, Shepard is not perfect. Shepard is flawed just like every other human out there. Shepard can make mistakes, and Shepard is allowed to change his or her mind, you know, based on what the situation is and based on what information Shepard gets. Based on the information that I got, I made the decision that I thought was best for the galaxy overall, and it had nothing to do with whether or not the elusive man's or Saren's plans had any similarity with it. And I know that a lot of people are probably now saying, but wait a minute, it was Shepard's mission to destroy the Reapers. How can you go back on Shepard's main goal, main mission of destroying the Reapers? I don't think that Shepard's main mission was to destroy the Reapers. I believe that Shepard's main mission was to save the galaxy. The most popular and widely accepted method of saving the galaxy was, of course, destroying the Reapers, including for Shepard, for, you know, almost 99% of the entire game. But I just feel that given the options that Shepard was given, Shepard really had to think closely about ultimately what is going to be best for the galaxy. And if you believe that what was best for the galaxy was to destroy the Reapers and all synthetics, that's fine. I did not think that I was not going to accept that at all, and decided that what was best for the galaxy was to go with the synthesis. And that's just me. Now we go to the indoctrination theory. Here we go. My thoughts on the indoctrination theory. I actually think the indoctrination theory is an awesome theory. It's very well thought out, and many of the videos that I've watched, the reasonings that people have put behind the indoctrination theory makes a lot of sense. I think it's very, very clever theory towards a very clever theory that the fan maids have come up with. But for me, until BioWare actually mentions the indoctrination theory or describes anything similar to the indoctrination theory in their games, I cannot accept it as canon. Not until that point, you know. But I think that what it does, I think that the indoctrination is a good thing, because I think it serves as a very good headcanon for people to allow them to enjoy the ending, because if it weren't for that, they would be totally ticked and upset and raging over this game, you know, to their grave, if they did not, you know, make this indoctrination theory their own headcanon. So in that way, I think it's a good thing. And we'll see what happens to the indoctrination theory when they come up with the DLC. So, good idea, great points. I personally am not going to consider it canon until BioWare decides to make it canon. And, you know, I don't need to make it canon because I was one of the people, I guess, who were fortunate enough to actually not mind the ending as much. And I guess before I close, I wanted to talk a little bit about the whole situation in general of people trying to get BioWare to change the endings. I mean, the DLC is, as BioWare has said, is not meant to change any of the endings. It's only meant to supplement or continue on with cutscenes of each of the endings that you made, and hopefully they address a lot of the concerns that I've had and many other people have to the best of their ability. If the fan base, if BioWare decided to take in the indoctrination theory and that wasn't their initial intention, that wasn't their initial design of the story, or in general, if the fans had decided, you know, they really hated this and they wanted BioWare to do this instead, and BioWare, I'm talking about plot-wise, if they came up with something plot-wise and then BioWare just took it, like the indoctrination theory, and put in the ending, that worries me a little bit, and I'm probably not going to be a very popular person by saying that, but it worries me because while I agree that video game companies need to listen to players, needs to listen to what they want, and try to provide them as much as possible with what they want, you know, if you give them a game and people clamor so hard about an ending, and, you know, BioWare ends up, or any company gives in and gives them exactly what the players asked for to the T, like the indoctrination theory, you know, then the next game that comes around that people get upset at with people getting upset with the ending or whatever, the players are then going to feel entitled, I think, and will try to rally once again and will be very upset if they don't get their way, because BioWare let the players get their way in this instance. Why don't you guys, you know, let us get our way in this instance? You know, I think there needs to be a balance, you know, between trying to give the players what they want and, you know, giving them enough of what they want without losing the respect, I think, and losing the respect of the gaming industry in general, because, you know, it would look bad. It would look bad on any gaming company if, you know, all it takes is for, you know, a bunch of players to complain so much that they just turn around and just give them precisely what they want, because, you know, it just almost seems kind of like BioWare doesn't have a backbone, as much of a backbone. I don't know. Again, this is probably not going to be a very popular thing of me to say, but it's just, I just worry. I just worry about those kind of things. So, I think that about wraps up my thoughts on the Mass Effect 3 ending and the reasons why a lot of people didn't particularly care for the ending. Like I said, even if I thought that the last 10 minutes of Mass Effect 3 were terrible, it does not in the very least destroy it would not in the very least destroy the series for me. I had an amazing time through all 3 games. it really is the journey for me. It's not the destination. All of the amazing scenes, emotional, intense, exciting, what have you, those are the scenes that I remember the most and I'm going to cherish the most. If the ending doesn't become one of the scenes that I end up cherishing the most, it's fine. I have plenty of other scenes and plenty of other experience playing through this game that I absolutely love, and I in no way feel that I wasted my money in any way, and I feel bad. I don't know, I just feel bad for anyone who allows the last 10 minutes of the game to completely spoil a series for them. I think that's... I feel bad. That's all it takes. Because I think that there's so many great things about all three of those games, and I definitely am going to be playing through them again. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I think this has gone long enough. I think I'm almost been going for almost an hour now. But you know, just wanted to share my honest opinions. Feel free to leave any comments about your thoughts. I mean, I don't mind, you know, getting into a mature discussion, a mature debate over, you know, differing opinions on the subject. And once the new DLC comes out, you can bet I will post another gay Let's Play Mass Effect 3 with that content. And yeah, I guess we'll just take it from there. People have been asking me if I'm gonna do more LPs. I seriously am considering it. Like, when I first started doing this LP, I wasn't sure if this was going to be it or if I was going to keep going, because I didn't know how it would be received and how many people would enjoy it. But you know, it seems like I've been getting a lot of great feedback, and people have been very patient with me and very sweet to me with my first LP. So I seriously think that I will. I think I will. Probably not right away, because I feel like I need a little bit of a break in between. But I do intend on doing another LP at some point, and it may very well be another gay Let's Play, because I feel like that's kind of becoming an interestingly unique shtick that I'm doing, so I'm going to try to continue on with that theme. What game am I going to be playing? Well, I guess you're just going to have to wait and find out. So, until then, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed my thoughts, hearing about my thoughts on the Mass Effect 3 ending. Until we meet again, love yourselves, and love each other.